Hello, I'm Ian. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. Um, this is just sort of to go into a lot more detail as to what you might have heard in emails or wherever else you might have found this video. Um, yeah, long story short, we want to make something for you. We want you to outgrow us. We like building, and you are going to take whatever we build for you based on your ideas or whatever input you have, and let you be free with doing whatever you choose to do with that, with what we make for you, which is obviously some kind of app or website or whatever else. Okay, well, let's dive into it. So, why people have chosen us in the past, why you should choose us. We're going to be quick in terms of, relative to price and quality, and full source code ownership. I have seen in the past in many circumstances where other developers will put you on their proprietary system, and then kind of as a consequence put you in a sort of coercive relationship. As a consequence of that, in a way, we are on proprietary software, but you're getting a full copy of it. We don't care what you do with it afterwards. There might be some contingency, like don't create a competing business like ours, but aside from that, no long-term contracts. I feel like if we have a long-term business relationship, it's because we like working together. I don't want to coerce that either. I'd rather us be happy when we're around each other. And control. I mean, if you are needing updates and all kinds of stuff all the time, I mean, there's only so big my team can get. And we don't want to be sort of glorified employees to your business. We want to retain our independence. And in order to do that, we give you your own independence. And we build it on software that a lot of developers are familiar and happy with. Collaborative. I mean, that's the whole point of why we do things the way we do, is because we know your value and we trust that you know ours, and we want those things to mix together to make the best thing. One of our very first launches was with Ben Palmer. He kind of made some videos with an idea about just what if I had my own AI website. This is kind of when ChatGPT was blowing up for the first time. What if I had my own website where they thought it was AI, but it was just me being an idiot. We had a lot of fun with that. I can't give a direct link because he's still trying to collect some content, and he wants it to be authentic, mistaken traffic. So I don't want to taint his content pool. But you can see his videos. I'll put a link in the description. It was collaborative, and we had a lot of fun together. Alex, he's a past client from when we were doing custom WordPress stuff, to be fully transparent. But to this day, we still work together and are happy to work together. And if you ever feel like talking to him and asking him about me and Curious Markings Company, he has only good things to say. And if he ever needs app development, he's coming to us. And he has actually come to us in the past. And one of the things we always try to figure out is, do you actually need this? Because don't build something just for the sake of building something. That's just an extra burden on you. And anyway, moving on. We're gonna cover really quickly what's happening in this recording. You're gonna understand the Empower Build framework. Those are just fancy words that I don't know. I guess we needed a title to sort of encapsulate everything that we do. We'll cover that. You'll know every single detail about that. You'll be able to, have a fully custom built app. We're gonna, make the thing you want. At the end of the day, most ideas in terms of like what they need technically, not really anything new. And if you do have something truly original, some software that has never been written before, what you can do is you'll have your guy or you yourself make your own proprietary software. You can just put it on a black box server somewhere, and we can just connect to it super easy. And then we're just doing all the stuff that's already been done a gazillion times before, WebSockets, Instant Chat, e-commerce, all the creation of pages. And that way we can sort of just focus more on the design side of things. But anyway, it'll hopefully lower your long-term costs because you're not dependent on us, and we don't have to charge a gazillion dollars to try and scale up just because you're scaling up. And then obviously we're just marking up what you're already doing. It's just kind of silly. So we're trying to avoid that for both our sake. You'll kind of get an idea of how you can make changes without needing to write any code at all for what we give you once you're live. This video is not for everyone, so let's dive into who this isn't for. If you don't have a business-to-business company, unfortunately, just the reality of economics, you're not going to be able to afford us if you are not business-to-business. And if you don't want companies to own their own source code, that's just a weird thing. I think if you think that, then you're probably a developer of your own, and you want to have sort of your own way of doing things, and that's just sort of a ideological thing. We're not going to be compatible with each other if I'm a developer making a developer stuff. And anyway, so and if you don't believe in no-code applications, I know it's a fairly new-ish sort of paradigm, and I know a lot of people in the tech industry that aren't super on board with it, and I get it. I get why. But if there aren't people making no-code apps, they're just going to continue to suck. And so I'm just one of the many businesses trying to move this sort of thing forward, because I truly believe it is the future. And if you don't believe technology can enhance your business, truly like actual ROI, not just some sort of vanity project, probably not for you. So next up, this video is for you if you want an app or a website quickly built with no errors, all that kind of stuff. I feel like I'm just kind of reading off the slides right now. We got a lot of content to cover, and so I'll just let you read these. I'm not going to get too much into this unless I actually have something to contribute here, catching myself in that process. So anyway, next slide. In case we haven't met yet, I said at the beginning, I was very brief. Let's get into it a little bit more. Hi. Ooh, my face is bigger. This is a jump scare. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Curious Markings Company. I essentially, I saw 5 years ago where the market was headed with, Squarespace making their own websites, or you can make your own website with Squarespace, Shopify, all that kind of stuff. And no code, a lot of the old agency style that we were doing before, uses Elementor on WordPress. That's kind of like a no code thing. The writing was on the wall, and I also saw sort of where the tech industry was headed as a whole, just a lot of monopolization and that kind of stuff, and that's not very good for a healthy economy. So I decided to make my own thing, because I know if I can make my own no-code application, I can empower myself and others without, doing the traditional coercive type of things that monopolies and proprietary businesses sometimes do. Oh no, I've turned into an old woman. I'm shriveling by taking up so much time with this video. Just kidding. Grace Hopper is someone I truly admire. I don't love all her quotes, so I'm not going to say she's infallible across the board, but this one is a really good one. The glass is neither half empty nor half full. It is simply larger than it needs to be. And I think that sort of hopefully informs a lot of our process. We don't want to do too much, but we don't want to do too little. And we also want to think in a way that is outside of typical paradigms. So look at me. I'm fresh and young again. Anyway, Empower Build Framework. So let's get into what the hell this is. And let's see. In-depth discovery. Like I said, we don't want to make the glass too big. Next up is collaborative prototype design. We're just going to rapid prototype. We're going to make things real quick and make sure that you are understandings are in alignment. So like, what you think it is versus what we're trying to make for you. We want to make sure those are actually lined up before we put too much work into getting it nice and for your end users. Develop with speed and precision. We're gonna be a lot faster because pretty much with what we have, the underlying stuff is already built. It's just a matter of putting together the bits to do what you want it to do and layering on a fantastic user experience. Because at the end of the day, if we're not doing anything functionally different, that means we have an availability and an impetus to create a really good user experience instead of spending all of our resources on software development. So code ownership, we'll go into the details of how you will own it and what that means, and that it isn't just, fancy words that we're saying that make you think you own it, but then you actually don't. No, you really do. It's fully in your possession. Number 5 is ongoing support and client empowerment, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm spilling the beans in the lobby. Sorry. I have a tendency to do that. I'm excited about this stuff. I'm a nerd with this stuff. Let's start with number 1, in-depth discovery. What are we actually solving? And a lot of the times, like, do we actually need to solve it? Like, what is the ROI? Is this actually going to help your business in some way or another? And all that kind of stuff. I mean, you probably know a lot about this stuff too. You've probably done projects like this in other parts of your career, I assume. Maybe that's not a good assumption. I don't know. Let me know. Anyway, budget, all that kind of stuff. Moving on, why do we even do it? Well, a good friend of mine, competitor, back when I was an agency, it seemed like 90% of her projects was discovery. But when it came time to actually build, it was like exactly what was needed. I don't know if we'll be 90% discovery. I hope not. But at the end of the day, if you measure enough times at the beginning, it can actually save you a ton of money. I've done a lot of agency work. I've done a lot of contractor work, and I've seen how a project's budget can like triple, quadruple, even more, simply because the people building the thing didn't actually understand what it was that you actually wanted. So I feel like a lot of this stuff sort of encapsulates that. Next up, collaborative prototype design. Some of my favorite websites that I worked on back before we did app building was when we did websites. I had a lot of clients that were just like really hands-on. Some might call it micromanaging, but I loved it because they knew their industry better than us. They knew exactly what they wanted. We would just do design jams in the middle of a Zoom call. It was really good for really amping up the quality. So we appreciate that collaborative nature of things, and we will never complain if you're just like, that's not right. It's like, okay, let's get on Zoom and get it right in real time. And because of the technology we have, we can do that. So, wireframe, prototyping, iterative feedback loops, blah, blah, blah. The typical software agile development stuff. Just going through sprints and getting this thing done. Now this thing. And user-centric design. We really want to make sure that people are not going to pull their hair out. See how much hair I have? It's because I use and make software that doesn't make me want to pull it out. Okay, next up. Initial conceptualization, interactive prototypes. I hope you know the drill. If you don't, pause the video, read through these things. We want you to, give us all the information, give us all the assets we might need, and we want to make sure that what we're doing is in alignment with what you have in your head. So that's what all this stuff does, and something that part of the future proof. I mean, design is an aspect of it, but the thing that really kind of like has blown our minds with the software that we've made is just how less error prone it is, simply from a paradigm perspective of how things are built. I haven't even quite wrapped my head around how or why it's less error prone, but I mean, obviously there's traditional systems that are gaining a lot of adoption lately, like continuous integration and test-driven development and all that kind of stuff. But just at an extra layer, it's almost like, yeah, gone are the days of like white knuckling deploying to production. It's just like surprisingly less error prone. So anyway, and responsive design, I feel like it's almost a travesty that I have to tell people that I do that. To me, it's the default, but anyway, is what it is. Next up, develop with speed and precision. Yeah, because of our proprietary platform. I mean, I don't know. If it's open source, is it proprietary? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We've made it ourselves. We have full control over it. We are the experts in what we're using because we're the ones that built it. And yeah, so what the underlying framework is called is MacroSage, and that is sort of the back end side of things. It does, if you think about it, I mean, all apps really are. It's just a bunch of data and the collection of it and the processing of it and the delivery of it. So you have a page, and sometimes there's a feed of pages, and those pages have buttons and interactive elements which trigger other things to happen. Sometimes it talks to the rest of the internet through API connections. Sometimes it needs to get more data from the database that is holding the rest of the data. There's sometimes redirects like, oh, this doesn't exist anymore, you should go here instead. And then there's components, repeatable components. There's like the top navigation, or on a mobile phone, it's usually better if it's the bottom navigation, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and we've just used a bunch of these paradigms and made it so that we can just quickly put it together in a way that, yeah, doesn't take too much effort, and then we can focus more on user experience. And because we're only building things once, it might take a lot longer, but once it's built, it's built. And so by the time you're seeing this video, by the time I'm recording this video even, all the stuff is already built. The quality is already there. It's already been put through all the rigors. All we're doing at this point is just putting in some HTML, adding a couple of curly bracket markup things to talk to the server, and it just works out the box. And we'll get into more about how it's not necessarily an HTML page. It could just be a no-code page builder thing, but it's still HTML. Anyway, let's press on here. Yeah, prioritizing what matters most. I think I kind of went into this. It's more just about building what you need rather than rebuilding what a bunch of tech companies have already built a gazillion times. So yeah, that's basically how we do it, quickly and efficiently. We'll iterate through things. If we get it up there and it's not quite doing what we expect it to, or isn't quite doing what you expect it to, we can iterate through that and make sure we're on point there. When it comes to client contact, we do prefer to reach out to you every week or so in a Zoom call, or if you're too busy for that, we can do an email or whatever is best for you. And minimizing surprises. That's why we want to do that weekly touch-in, because if we go off and say we're working for 4 weeks and then all of a sudden we went off in the wrong direction for way too long, I mean, that's pretty costly. We don't want you to do that, and we don't want to build things that is never going to see the light of day. That sucks for everyone. Quality assurance testing, break it. Get up there, get on there and break it. We encourage you to join us on that if you want to. Just make sure everything works as expected. Make sure that if we use it weird, because people use things weird, that it can withstand that. The usual software testing stuff. Prepare for launch. We get you online. We'll do a bunch of tests afterwards as well, quality assurance once it's launched, and there's optional support stuff post-launch, and obviously there's a bit of stretch of time that we're going to make sure that you're all set to go. We're not just going to leave you high and dry if something major is wrong. Let's see. Yep. And the benefits, hopefully those are transparent to you by now, but yeah, it'll be high quality. We'll make it quick. compared to, quality versus, it's like we're not going to make it overnight, but we are going to make it in a time that is quicker than most. And, if another house makes it the same amount of time as we do, it's probably good. Ours is probably going to have a lot less bugs. It's going to have a lot less issues later on. It's probably going to be more performant, etc. So that's kind of the idea there. Code ownership. Let's get into that. This is kind of the thing that is really important to us. Full code ownership and delivery phase is the defining element. So, yeah, it's yours. You paid us so much money for it. It should be yours. Unrestricted access to your code. No proprietary law. Yeah, it's yours. We license it to you in perpetuity. It's yours. It's all yours. We're not looking to be the next big monopoly. We just want to pay our rent and make cool stuff. All right. No ongoing obligations. We do offer support afterwards. You can continue to get the latest and greatest from our code base if you want. You can continue to get help from us on an ongoing basis if you prefer, the experts to be helping you along, but it's not required. And we're not going to structure it in a way that is going to sort of like functionally lock you into a long-term contract. We don't have the resources to support 1 million people on an ongoing basis, and I don't think we want to. So, carrying on. Next up, deployment assistance. Yeah, we get you online. We get you on a web server. We get you on the web right away. If you need help on the App Store, the Apple App Store, or the Google Play Store, we've done this a lot. We can help you with that too. Generally, it's just a bunch of red tape with both those platforms. There is a bit of code stuff, extra code stuff we got to do, but otherwise, it should be good to go. But again, remember, red tape means red tape. These platforms are going to be a pain in our butts. So just be ready for that. But anyway, why is code ownership critical? Gosh, I sure hope you know by now. And if you don't, I don't want to disparage other companies or whatever else, but there's a lot of situations where this is a problem. You know what? Talk to your lawyer. Say, hey, lawyer, is it a good idea to not have code for this thing in my business? And if they say, well, this or that, listen to them. I find a lot of the time they're probably going to say no, especially if it's going to be a primary source of revenue for your company or your business. Just be safe out there. Okay, next up, ongoing support and client empowerment. Here's how we do it. First off, we design it to make sure that you don't need us in the future. And if you do need us, it's because you want to do more, because it's awesome and you want to do more awesome stuff and you want to do that awesome stuff with us. Hey, that's awesome for us too. So that's basically it. We want to make sure that everything's doing what you want it to do. At the end of the day, some apps suck. Sometimes the people in your company don't want to use it, or the people you are serving don't want to use it. Maybe it was just a bad premise. Hopefully we rule that out in discovery, but you never know. Either way, outside of your end users not liking it or not being willing to pay or whatever, we're going to make sure that it does exactly what you want it to do. And so when it launches and you're happy with it, that's the main goal. 12-month support plan. This is, again, optional. I would say it's recommended, but, really, like if you have the sort of resources and experience at your disposal to not need it, then that's great. I mean, we should all be so lucky. Anyway, that's you can pause and get a good read on this, but just press on. This is already getting a bit long, so trying to be respectful of our time here. Autonomy. Who doesn't want autonomy? Like, that's why I'm sitting here in this Co Valley co-working office making a bunch of noise, because I have the autonomy to work on the weekend when I feel like it, and I felt like it today. And also, probably be annoying for everyone around me if I was recording this video right now. Anyway, that applies everywhere, including your code. You know, think about it this way: you own the code, and you can do whatever you want with it, or I own the code, and you have to ask me politely every time, "Hey, Ian, can you make this update, please?" I can hear the stress in my clients' voices whenever they ask me to do something, and if I can empower them in a way that makes it so that they don't even have to consider asking me, they're just like, "Oh, I know how to do that. I'll just do it myself." Oh, that's less stress for them, and it's less empathy on my part that I have to expend, being like, "Man, it's fine. I'm happy to help. I'm here for you." Anyway, moving on. Self-management with AppSage. So this is sort of the front end. So MacroSage is stuff that happens on the server. It manages the database. It's the application layer, if you know what that means. Does all the servery things. And AppSage is the no-code page builder. If you've ever used anything like Elementor on WordPress, if you've used Webflow, or perhaps maybe even Shopify has some no-code page builder stuff now. Bubble.io is a good way of describing kind of like the whole thing of what we do as well. What's the other ones? Squarespace, Wix, Weebly, I think they all have page builders now. It's kind of the same thing. We like to think ours is less annoying to use, but we'll leave that for time to decide. But anyway, that's the short and skinny of it. You can make your own pages, and you do your MacroSage stuff, which is the server stuff underneath, the functionality within AppSage. You can even check out a demo that we have live right now, appsage.io. You can kind of poke around. It is kind of rough around the edges. We're still actively developing it and kind of in the early stages of making it public. Internally, we kind of do some manual overrides, but either way, it's there for you to test out if you'd like. AppSage, one last thing. You might want to be on desktop to design, because you need to be able to see all possible device widths. That aside, moving on, scalable support for growth. So yeah, as your app grows, I mean, the best way is for us to just get out of your way. That's why you own the code and all that kind of stuff. But we're here to help if you need it. If you need to get on your own server or whatever it may be. There's too many possibilities to even cover right now, but you kind of get the idea. We've seen all of them, and we can help you out. And encouraging ownership and responsibility. That's kind of what we're trying to intrinsically do at an industry level. But we want confidence. You're going to feel great about having your app launched once you're done working with us. Every time I've ever worked with a website client, and this is kind of what inspired us to do what we're doing now, is we would make a WordPress website back in the day, and we'd use Elementor, and we'd train our clients half an hour here, maybe half an hour later, a few weeks, because it'd been a while and they forgot. But the confidence that they had, they were just like, well, that was like, they were like super stressed going into it. Half an hour later, like, oh, this is awesome. I almost want to just like make more pages. So yeah, that's a clear indication to me they feel empowered. And some of the more hardcore ones, they're like, they're doing all these things, and a few months later, we're having meetings. They're like, oh, you're gonna have to hire me as a designer soon. So, I think you'll walk away kind of in a similar mode of being able to manage your application that way. So that's pretty exciting. Why does it matter? I mean, just listen to that story. Of course that matters. Why would you not want to have your own app be able to just like manage it like that? You don't even need to write a line of code. That speaks for itself, but we've got some more transactional reasons there too. Have a read if you like. Final handover and strategic guidance. Last one. We're almost through this. Documentation we need this for ourselves. So of course we're gonna have documentation, and it'll all be in the code base, and people helping you, people you've hired, employees, or even you can read through it, figure it out for yourself if you need to. User guides. This will be application specific. Obviously, people learn differently. Some people will click around, figure it out for themselves. Some people will just do things, and they don't care if it breaks. They're just gonna try it, and that's fine too. There's some people who need handholding, whether it be a little documentation pop-up thing, maybe it's a video that they need. We try to, include these things so that not only are you not getting lost, but the people using your application aren't either. Handover, we can send it however you like. You can get added to the GitHub. You can get a little zip file with the whole thing. Whatever you need. It's at the end of the day, it's just plain text files. You can download it however you like. Training. Like I said, we do training, and we enjoy training because at the end of the meeting, you're gonna feel like you're app hacker, coder guy, gal, whatever. you're gonna be pretty excited about doing your thing. So of course we're gonna offer training. It's awesome when that happens. And we can do hands-on walkthroughs, and if you've got a support plan afterwards, call us anytime. We're more than happy to walk you through or get a reminder. If you're not remembering after 4 or 5 times, it might be something that we need to change on our end if you're not figuring it out by then. But you do have that option to call that 4 or 5 times to get reminded continually about a thing. Haven't had that happen yet, but anyway. Deployment support, we do most of it for you. If you're needing us to match a particular paradigm of your own making, maybe you have your own particular cloud service or whatever else, there might be a bit of extra effort there, but otherwise, we're walking you through the whole thing. No long-term obligations, of course. How many times do I have to say this? If you don't like us and we don't like you, why would we want to lock ourselves into that? And if we do like each other, then the obligation is just that we like being around each other and we want to watch each other succeed. So, and why is it important? I feel like I'm just kind of hitting myself on the head over and over again. Do you get it? I hope you get it by now. I don't know. Maybe it's like a chaos theory thing. Maybe you're the next big tech monopoly, and you're off in your yacht with your billions, and now a bunch of employee drones are the ones that are making your company the gazillion dollars, and they have this awesome software to do that. Obviously, you wouldn't need us if that was the case. And it probably wouldn't be the case if you didn't have that sort of autonomy and that kind of thing. So, no brainer. And also, you don't want us influencing your business, right? Screw that. Okay. Another quote from Grace Hopper, Rear Admiral Grace Hopper. No innovation or standard should be rejected as too costly without careful evaluation of the cost of not doing it. I think this is particularly important in business to business. What are you trying to do? And what is the cost of not doing it? Because a lot of the time when you're thinking about doing something like this, you're thinking, there's all these options. I don't know what to do. It's probably just easier to not do it at all. Is it though? You should look into that. And I like to think that if you do it, we're going to be the best option. So, some caveats, of course, as always. Just remember, if you do this yourself, you're going to have to either create a platform like we have for doing this kind of thing, or you're going to have to find someone else, and who knows if it's going to be like ours. Maybe it's just going to be hard-coded. Everything's going to be hard-coded, and that's going to be, my skin is crawling just thinking about having to get an app like that and then manage it afterwards. You're going to have to build out okay. So we're a business. We're doing our business things. We're focused entirely on just this, right? And you're your business. You're doing your business things. Now imagine you have to think about all the things we've already thought about. Yeah, not a good idea. But you can do it, and maybe it's worth it. If it is, why are you talking to me? Okay, let's just move on before I convince you to just do your own thing. Okay. Yeah, or you could work with us, right? Right? Okay. The difficulty lies not in the new ideas, but in escaping from the old ones. That's also Grace Hopper. I just thought to keep it simple. We don't need a bunch of people. Let's just keep it between you and me and Grace. So, the afters, the state of our clients after. This is the idea of this is them escaping their old ideas and just making the leap. They have an awesome looking app, of course. Blah blah blah. You get the idea. And yeah. Mic drop? No, it's going to make a horrible noise. I'm not going to do that to you. Power Build Framework. That's just, in a nutshell, what we're doing. That's kind of what I was alluding to at the beginning and possibly before. Link in the description to get going. Anyway, that's all I've got. I'm tired now. Are you tired? Hopefully that was not tiring for you. This is a terrible way to end a video, isn't it? Okay, bye!